Yeah.
The mill.
Yes.
The mill. It's colic.
It feels a bit ridiculous to use a microphone when we're.
Okay.
You need for the recording. Yeah, of course. Okay. Seatbelts on. Welcome back. Girl power. So this session this morning is about managing academic and personal issues, with a stronger emphasis on the academic issues, actually. But happy to bring forward if it's some of the personal issues that you are in particular keen on discussing. The way we're going to approach this is to think of it from the supervisor and the student perspective. So the supervisor have personal obligation and health, in particular when we are time poor. It's a lot of stress, and stress, I don't need to go on this, it's medical people here, you are much better about these sort of medical areas than I am. That you find
Social, yeah, she said, yeah.
social,
Yeah, Indonesian, like, attending
weddings,
party, weddings, funeral, and then blah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, okay, yes. And that is a part, integrated expectation of work.
Yes, because it's sometimes feel uncomfortable if our colleague and then pass away and then we are not present, and then, wedding, as wedding.
Yes. Okay, so we need to add those things onto that. That explains the title about managing academic and personal issues, because it blends in, right, in your roles.
Yeah. And then celebrating something,
Yes.
Yeah, university has a lot of celebration, Yeah. So a lot of ceremonies,
and yes, okay. From the students, then it's also a personal obligation and health, likewise. And as we said, they are enrolled full-time, they work, so they are really part-time when they have to earn an income, and then they possibly have other family, etc. Also social obligations, I would assume.
Yes.
So it's important. Is there
Personal,
anything?
And personal, sometimes they have to return back to their city, or something like that, because of part-time, even though full-time, sometimes they need to go back.
Yes, traveling.
Back and forth.
Traveling, and that costs money and time. Yes, right. So from this, we can already unpack and say that there are a lot of conflict. So time management is a key. I thought, again, I touched upon this yesterday just briefly, but I would like to go back to this one, because it's an important thing. Because if we unpack just the academic work and your research performance, since we're trying to move into a more research-based culture, and in your role as a supervisor, you will be sort of the next leading generation of research leaders of this university. It's perhaps good to not only leave these sort of areas to the leadership. It's something that concerns all of us in the academic environment. So what I wanted to say is that just as an academic, there are so many skills and knowledge and expertise that is required of you. Just to start off, to think about the policy for research. Let's start there. So the policy in Indonesia will affect your work already. There are a number of regulations, there are way that influences the way the institution leads, and within that you also have institutional policies in which you are embedded. And you need to understand how to navigate those things to be able to progress successfully through your academic career.
Yeah, as Indonesian government is that they also offer like some grants, but they require a specific what do you call it? It's not only degree, but only your position. So if you not reach that position, you cannot apply that the grant. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So what you need to think about is how you progress within the institution and how to best do that for what you want in terms of your aspirations and passions, and not suggesting that everyone should be a leader, but in your role you are effectively a leader. So funding trends would influence you. We talked already about the PhD students, whether they are self-funded, whether they are recruited as a part of a project. That also determines how you can build up your team, because more and more research, if you would like to move towards research excellence, you need to work in teams, and also transnational teams. So that's one. So it's a whole area of skills and knowledge, and this is one thing that it's actually an area of studies, but it's also an area of practices and expertise within practices. And I think this is something that is often neglected as a part of the PD development, to understand the bigger picture and in which you are. So that's an area possibly for continuous professional development. And you, after taking part in this session, would have more knowledge than others. So to discuss those issues aside from the academic issues are important. Right, then you have other obligations, like I would assume that a lot of the research and the work you do also have implications on both policy and practices in the community. Also might have commercial aspects in when you collaborate in the field of medicine. Perhaps you can say something about that.
Yeah, I think the University of Gadjah Mada, they already have a kind of system that the result of the research can be like linking to the industry. What is the name, Pak Yudi? Don't remember. Apa itu di yang Bu Ana itu loh? Apa namanya? Oh, Bu Eka Dewiana. Yeah, Eka, Dr. Kiki Eka Dewiana. Yeah. So this is a kind of system. From my experience, because my research on tobacco, so I already use the result of the research to make advocacy for the academic paper for developing advocate the policy smoke-free in Yogyakarta.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. And I also know that you have a very wealthy family that promotes cigarette production within the country. So it's a bit of an upstream work, right?
Yeah.
In some senses, yeah. It's interesting. I think this is an area, in particular, in a university that is the leading university, that you will have. You will shape a lot of the practices and policies and have access to actually real influence in this. It's hard work, and it's really frustrating, and we just need to be supportive to one another and acknowledge that that is the condition under which we work. And it also takes time off publications, right? Yeah. The moment you walk into all this practical and it's often not acknowledged in academic careers as something important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the relevance, towards academic outputs in excellence is actually sometimes quite conflicting. So it's to bear in mind how you again manage your time in that between those functions. Yes.
Yeah. And if a lecturer would like to promote to the higher rank for their position, so I think they have to do research, because even though we can write, the writing is not based on empirical study, but the score if you write a paper based on empirical study is higher than if you just doing the literature review paper. So what do you call it? The force to do research for a lecturer is it's strong, and then now the UGM also want to be like higher rank in the publication,
That said, we also have a heavy teaching workload, in addition to post
practical session.
all of that. And I would suggest when people push you into the innovation and said, how are you relevant? How are you developing, the economy, and how do you promote these sort of things? I think we have to reinstate the role of the tutorials and the teaching and that, because that is effectively a strong mechanism for transforming the society by educating the new generation that then will take up positions across the society. So usually these two areas have been separated from one another, but I think it's an argument to link them together. Then you also have the clinical work, right? And administration workload. So, which the administration also requires that you understand the rules, regulation, how you can pass by it. You have to get along with people. You have to, the difficult one, you have to find a way around to get your way through. It's an art in itself, right?
Yeah, and as well as we have to check the report of the finance.
Finance is a huge
as a
thing
chair
here,
of department or co-chair of department, so we need to check everything.
Yes.
Create also,
yes. Check, yes.
So a lot of paperwork actually,
Yes.
but not scientific work.
And that is to, and all of that is because to fight corruption, is that right?
It's one of the reasons, but the other reason.
And then it's gone overboard, so it's too detailed, so it takes up too much time to actually perform the core functions. It's hard to balance. Bureaucracy is an art in itself.
We have to plan and then implement and then evaluate.
Okay. So I would suggest that within an institution, there are 3 areas that needs to successfully transform an institution from a heavy teaching into a robust research institution. The executive leadership, research leadership, and the support structures. Support structures meaning administrative support that underpins the achievement for the research. And I would say that the research leadership, including all levels of researchers, is the core for the transformation. So you in your, if you like, mid-career roles, where you're just about to be supervisors, you are absolutely critical for the transformation of the institution. So I see. So I don't know why there is a slide here as well. Yeah, doesn't matter. We can just talk about the research leadership a bit. And there are some elements that relates to the institution that are helpful, and this is based on a big piece of work that LH Martin has done jointly with colleagues across the world, and that shows that have a positive influence in terms of the transformation process to become more research-based and research-informed. And that is rewards and recognition for academic work, for research. It's internationalization. Now, in particular, the frontline research is conceptualized in transnational networks. It depends a bit on what disciplinary areas, and it has, but the cutting edge is usually done in transnational networks. Collaboration internally between, welcome, welcome, that's all right. Ah, good, all good. We started before you came. Yeah, that's all right, but we're glad you're here. And you see, we have all these women here, you know, so.
Just finished with my students.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh, okay. You see, time management, time poor. Yeah. Okay. So early career work. It's a key. It's a key area of concern in the change process to make sure that there is a pathway and that we are not only top heavy. So we only got the senior and then PhD. It needs to be people occupying positions across the institution to make the culture strong. We have the PhD training supervision, we have sustaining and managing funds, innovation and engagement, that is with the community government industry, and also the ethics, and that is the standards and, you know, we will have a full session on that later on. Is it something you would like to comment on this?
Yeah, I think the Faculty of Medicine Gadjah Mada University, Universitas Gadjah Mada now we call, yeah, we already also trying Adi as a former Vice Dean of Research, yeah, she tried to make mechanism for this research, and then we just have like the integrated laboratory, and then also trying to put all the offering of grants, yeah, yeah, in the one place, so every staff can access, and then try to remind, and then and then also like facilitate the researcher, yeah, through the center of research, yeah. So we have several center of research, because sometimes the researcher don't have time for the paperwork administration, so they need support staff, for that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just after we've gone through this, I have sent you an email with a little survey that you will just complete here, and we will play back to see a bit how this, how far we have come in the process of really establishing mechanism that would be supportive for building a robust research culture. Right. So one of the areas, it's the human resource policy. Workload flexibility is a key factor. Collaboration with supervisors, we touched upon that yesterday a lot. And funding professional development. But all of that will be reflected in this little survey. When it comes to the health, personal and family issues and social issues, I see the spelling error, changing jobs it's supposed to be. How does that, how much of time does that take from you? If you sort of, is that a big proportion, you would say?
For what?
For the social, the personal, is it?
Yeah, sometimes yes, it's more than the academic, but sometimes the academic also needs time, even we bring our work at home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because in Europe, my colleagues from Sweden, they say that the writing is mainly done, at holidays.
Personal development, yeah.
Yes.
PD. The PD.
Yes. PD is
professional development.
PD is professional development. So that's what we do here now. And that is also something that is often neglected. And I would say that when an institution is up for a transformation from a teaching culture into a more research-based culture, it's very important to have continuous professional development programs.
Yeah.
Because it's a number of skills and knowledge and areas that to change a culture, you need to nurture and support that, not only with the structural support, but also with the personal Because it needs to be centered around the individuals.
Yeah, yeah. A few days ago, I think the Faculty of Medicine Universitas Gadjah Mada also conducted a workshop for developing proposal, grant proposal. So, and then, yeah, the staff were selected to be the participants. So we hope that is early career researcher that, joined in the workshop. So this one of kind, we are trying to professional development.
Yes. That's exactly the type. Okay. Management of academic issues. If you look at the PhD students, we talked quite extensively about this yesterday, but I thought we could look ahead a bit on what's going on internationally in the PhD training. So mobility around students' mobility has moved from undergraduate to postgraduate and increasingly PhD level. So there are some areas that needs attention, and we touched a lot upon this yesterday. But I think joint research projects with industry, government, and community. I wonder how much of that is happening right now in Gadjah Mada. Is that a strong component of the PhD training?
Strong, I would say not yet, but there's some of students that's already working with the industry or government or community. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is, and the reason why that has turned into an increasingly important area is that a lot of the PhD students will not work as academics.
Yeah.
So we need a supervisor to prepare them both for those that are into an academic career is one thing, but also to have skills and knowledge that goes beyond the academic enterprise and can be useful. So that is a trend, a global trend that is successful in some areas. It's variations across disciplines, but a growing area of attention. Another part is the internships, international or national, and I understand that in Indonesia you have some funding schemes.
Yeah, from the Ministry of Education. Yeah, they have like funding for 2 months or 3 months. They can go abroad to enriching the knowledge, based on the PhD topic. Yeah, I have 2 students.
Thank you very much. I just want to edit for the joint research project with the industry, government, and community. I would like to give my opinion or comment in my situation, and I just coming back from my project 2015 from abroad, and from the 2015 until now, actually there are many platforms or the research grants, not only from DIKTI or RISPIN IPTEC, but also from other platforms. And even from the DIKTI itself, there will be 2 kinds of grant. First, grant that is basically is research grant for the researcher, which is me or other people with the NEDN, so like governmental things, will be a PI and the co-PI and everything. And the secondly is the research grants that is it for not the PI doesn't have to come from the academic background, but the PI has to come from the people people outside. And sorry, the PI is come from me, so I mixed up with the WHO TDR. So the PI, it has to become from me, from us, but we have in the research group, there have to be other co-investigator, and the other co-investigator have to come from the government, from the NGO, and also from the other thing.
Yes.
And the second one about the international internship, international and national, and I know Bu Yaye is already have a very broad things and a very experienced, but Me, myself, is just coming back. I just try collaborate with the WHO TDR, Dr. Yodi or Dr. Sasi project, that the PI, WHO TDR, maybe it's not too much, but I think it's for me it's very enough. But the PI has to come from the government, from the NGO, and we from the academic background as a co-PI.
Yes.
Yeah, this
Yes.
is my comment.
And just to comment on that, when an institution moves into a more traditional, how to say, writing articles or book chapters or presentation of
Yeah.
papers at conferences, into working jointly with the NGOs, with the governments or with industry, whatever we are focusing on, with grants. That requires a different kind of mindset and skill sets.
Yeah.
And it's and we need to appreciate that in the discussion, usually academics are blamed for not understanding the logic of the industry or the community or being in the ivory tower, you know, that sort of narrative. There might be cases when that is right, but I think this is a mutual process. As much as the academics need to appreciate the other side, you also have the others that needs to be trained in research methods. They might have problems that can't be, you know, more research won't solve them because they will shift each time, for example. They might not, so it's always, it's a mutual process where they need to be taught how research can contribute to improve, to achieve the outcomes that it wants. And that also means that in one's priority setting head, certain things might be better off being shifted with other interventions than research. Some might need to be research-based. Yeah, and it's a fine line, and this is a learning process that is mutual from both sides. We have, I know from just the governmental agency's perspective that we had the Agency for Environment and Climate Change in Sweden, and they decided to have a research unit, and then internally they decided that okay, more of our work should be research-based, and but it was 2 years of training from the people sitting in the research positions to actually train the people in the functional of what sort of research, how they could ask questions that are researchable and how research can help them in their work. And usually it was more a wish of getting synthesized reports that summarize where the front line in research is, or bringing to the, not so much producing new research. So this is also a thing when you think of transforming of an institution, that sometimes the engagement with the community might not actually lead to excellence in terms of research. It might, but not necessarily. It's a long process of training them, which is important for the society, but not reflected always in the academic outputs and performances. Yeah.
Yes, that's my not my. This is with my team. So the program, based on research, smoke-free home. So now it's shifted to the program for the Yogyakarta City Office. So now our program, our project actually, this is the first project is to accompany the community to declare the village as a smoke-free home. But because this is in line with the objective of the City Health Office, so they now trying to continue the work. Yeah, so that's, and I have also one student that doing community empowerment. So now, yeah, because my background is health promotion too, yeah. So some of my student, I think, is already engaged in the community since the beginning of the research project.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
It's and I think the students can be very much utilized for the community engagement rather than having the senior professors or yourself doing all that work. Welcome.
Kursinya di sana kebetulan.
Welcome. Do you find your... So the man is coming. We just had a long discussion about women power. So welcome. Yes.
You want to add?
Yes.
I just want to add about the things. So, is it true that this problem it's real? What you say, it's true. Because why? First, our group did a research in the village and the community workers, the batik traditional workers. And at the village, first, we go from the skin problem, occupational thing. And then after that, by the time, and then we found that there is other occupational problem that can be detected clinically, not only from the skin, but from the neurologist, and then from the other thing, from the eye. And the neurologist and the eye department, is it also working together with us? Yeah. And then the community doesn't know that it's a problem, or is it okay, and still it's already a long time ago. And it's very good that now the Dr. Asri was granted with the WHO TDR program, that they work together with the people from the district government. And actually, this is the implementation research that would like to know whether the program UKK, so the UKK, I would like to tell you, you have to be patient with that. UKK is, because UKK is the problem or the project by the district government, something like the kesehatan kerja, so the occupational group health, something like that. It's already been a long time ago owned by the Puskesmas, Ministry of Health. And they would like to know whether this project will be applicable or not. But in Kulon Progro, where we are making a research, the UKK project actually is already being launched about 2 years ago. And the problem is, the people there is not working there anymore, so the Puskesmas people go to the district and whatever and whatever. And now, we would like to see, or we would like to re-see what happened with the UKK project. And it's very good because we have the people in the village, what is the problem, and we would like to re-see whether the UKK can be continued. Just like my...
So this is good example.
It's a brilliant example, and I also think it highlights that the role of research, it's so much more than a commercial, it has to do with improving people's lives, right? And I think you need to be strong advocate for that narrative, and that is with the health department, but also in the general public, with the communities, just as you are doing. So, that's really good. Just a few words about the early career researchers, because I put that together for those PhD students that continue an academic career. These are some of the areas, and project management will increase in importance. The more funds that you are seeking from the more stakeholders you are involved with, the more you work with the community, the more you work with government. It doesn't matter. To have good project management skills it's really important, and perhaps an area of continuous professional development. And early career researchers are a good entry point, but also, I would think, senior level. And how to do that effectively, I don't know, because you need to motivate them to see the role, because they might think that they already know everything. But that is effectively a key area. It's about managing relationship, it's managing policies, it's to collaborate across disciplines in interdisciplinary projects. And you can just unpack how many skills and knowledge and personal relation that entails. So it's a very complex domain to occupy.
Yeah, I think the center, center of study that led by Pak Yodi a few times ago did the workshop about project management, yeah, and at that time also invite some colleagues, some staff from Gadjah Mada University, yeah, to know how, and then they also introduce a special software, something like that. Yeah, but yeah, I agree that the project management is very important. Yeah.
Yes, and it's not the mechanical thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very much managing people's relationships.
Yes.
And that is something that is often overlooked, I think.
Yes.
And it's this ability to collaborate, because it's like it's to move from this is my to sharing, which is scary, and then it entails trust. Can I really trust? And this person comes from a different discipline and a different institution, or from a different country, let alone. And then you have all these cultural issues as well. And yes, so it's a continuous. You learn as you do, but there are also possibilities to professionalize that process, and not everyone needs to go through the same mistakes, perhaps.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to have a bit of a guidance in that process. Right. So also think, for you that step in now as supervisors, that it might be too late once you have the PhD student, but to actually educate the students that the choice of supervisor is one of the most important choices of their life. It's almost like you are shifting from your parents to a new parent, and you just don't want to do that easily, you know. So that's a thing to think of from the leadership, but also at your roles, and how that sort of message can filter through. Welcome. Yeah, that's great. It's good to have you here. Yes. Yes. I'm sure you have your own experiences of that. Probably a mixed bag. And I'm surprised that a lot of people that come to our institution and where I work, that they haven't really done the homework properly in the choice of the supervisor. And then they come into my office, no doubt, and they have all the debriefings and talking to how am I going to manage my supervisor, which is not quite my job, I think, but that's what happens. Yeah. Right. I think what I wanted to do, these are some of our staff members and fellows, etc. So just what I would like you to do now is to take out your
laptop or Android,
laptop or
smartphone.
Smartphone is fine. You open your email, and you should have received an email from me with a little survey. It's I don't know, how long did it take for you to 5 minutes?
It depends on the Wi-Fi.
5, 10.
Then I think the
7 minutes. Yes, I send it to you. So you should open your email. I think you should get it to your Yahoo. Is that right? Did you get it? Yeah. So if someone of you, all of you have it. Okay, so I give you 10 minutes to fill it in.
with the Wi-Fi, we don't know. It is the speed of the.
Yes.
So she's not able to do private work now, okay? Because you worked ahead, good planning. And have you already read the two documents that I sent?
Ya, sebenarnya gambarnya gini ya.
160 pages, 200 pages, how many pages? That's it.
Anu tuh ke bawah gitu loh. Kalau Apple tuh ada pilihannya tuh loh.
This is your portfolio. Sekolah pinggir, di syuting
I like that, you know, that's when technology works. Yes, yes, yeah. So here we are. Huh? This program is called Qualtrics. It's because I have what you just did now is a part of a project that I have worked on for a number of years, and that is to translate, how to say, policy research and management research into a practical instrument where we can use the results based on self-assessment to see how we can transform our institutions to become more research-oriented and to acknowledge where we are. People can talk about where we stand and how we can improve practices to become better. So it's not something, so it's both a learning and a training and a sort of result. And I've done this just recently where I met Ron in Bogota. So this is just a little piece of a larger piece that can be applied across a full institution and to inform leadership and management on practices. Yes, so what you just experienced is a part of that work. And here you can then see that, and this happens all the time. So opinions differs, and there might be different reasons. People come from different schools or centers, departments, etc. So, and have different experience. But this one is then on promotions of higher ranked positions, whether that's transparent, and recognitions of rewards. So you can see that it's in place from your view, could possibly be improved. A few thinking it slightly. To what degree are reward mechanisms in place for established researcher in the following areas? And this is provision to access to research infrastructure, workload flexibility, and skills development. So again, doing pretty well, I think. Yeah? To what degree is funding available for established researcher and early career researchers for international collaboration? So you are quite internationally connected, it seems, right? And then it's access to funding to support early career researchers, and this is a critical part, because when you're in an early career position, you're often, I don't know exactly how it is in Gadjah Mada, but the insecurities of having a long-term employment is often much higher. So having funds to keep people developing themselves to become an independent researcher is a very strategic area.
Yeah.
You have a wrong population, because all of this is not legally.
There,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. In advanced career, though.
Mid-career,
Yeah. It's not early.
And you got a point. So when we do this across an institution, you select different populations and then you compare across. So then we can ask the opinions of the executives and the early career researcher, and then you can compare them.
CNC is one of the decision maker in our faculty.
Yeah.
No. Bukan. Wakil dekan Pak Yodi, Pak. Yeah. Yeah, I just whistleblower. Yeah, so yeah, I think the uncertain position or because the Universitas Gadjah Mada now is also very strict requirement for hiring the new staff. So it is also challenging for us to have the new career, new staff, so they should be who employ them. And then who pay them, so sometimes we use the center of study and then we have some research and then trying to hire them first as an early career researcher and then see and then engage them in the academic things and then we will see and then if they have, we see that they are good so we can offering them to be hired in Gadjah Mada University. But now UGM is very strict for that requirement.
Yes.
This is true for being an academic staff in Universitas Gadjah Mada. But we have to know that in UGM there are many staff teaching the students, especially clinical staff. And we, or me and you, is a academic staff. But there is also staff that was belong or being evaluated or being selected by other governmental department.
Ministry of Health.
Ministry of Health. And in my opinion, the criteria, I don't sure that is the same will be the criteria for Universitas Gadjah Mada. In my opinion, TEMWA. Correct me if I'm wrong. Thank you.
Okay. Project management included as a responsibility in early career. So we could see it here that this is a piece of work to be worked on from the leadership perspective, because it seems to be missing out at the moment. Postgraduate supervision for early career. This is another area. It's a part of the future training of academics to perhaps not be in lead, but be associated with, and Ron will perhaps cover that more later on how to actually make that happen in a pragmatic, cost-efficient, time-efficient way, because we need to be very careful about the time management. How much time in percentage do you estimate that the leadership spends applying, managing, and reporting on external funds?
It's mostly the very
yes. Yes. But that is so in institutions which juggles with a lot of funding streams. That is a big proportion, and I would think that this is going to increase. So if you think ahead in the future, if you are to move more into a more research-intensive department, it would be expected that you will have different resources of funding and apply more for funding. Project management will be a key area for development, and the time and the resources that will take up to manage them will also increase.
Yes, please.
Thank you. I only saw the title of the email, but I haven't managed to open it.
That's all right.
What do you mean with external funding in this case?
External funding is funding that is not block grants. So it's not institutional grants. So everything that comes from outside is external funding.
But from my experience in UGM, many of research leadership spend more time for managing and reporting, but not going into detail to the field itself, to the lab. from my experience, I only manage this. I've never been to the lab. I only discuss with, oh, this is how it has to be done. But most of my time I use for this. But I believe this is what happened also in the faculty, rather than having the percentage as low as this.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is research capability of or preparation of research proposal in early career. Yes. Okay.
I have a different point of view because my research is based on a clinical research and it's based on the patient that we found in the wherever. It will be on my clinics or it will be in the community. Yeah. And when we have or I have myself my publication based on my research in occupational health and the batik industry or leather factory, for example, I am sure that I saw all of my patients that I wrote on that. And also, when I do or reporting a research on the adverse cutaneous drug reaction and the patient was being submitted or admitted in the Sarjito Hospital, I'm sure 100% that I have seen this patient before. This is so I have a different point. But for the lab, I don't know because I just want to say the clinical setting.
Okay.
Yeah, for community, I think I also have to go to the field. Yeah, as a PI, this is important.
Yes. Right. Okay. This is about when we grow research capacity. It might be areas which we choose or methodological approaches or investment areas that we choose not to continue with. Could be all sorts of reasons. It's like, okay, we would like to make more priority in a certain area, a certain space that would require investments in infrastructure. It might require investments in certain journals. It might require investments for collaboration across internationally. It might, all sorts of reasons. And then that's why this question is in place. And as we can see, there are Yes, but it's more if there is a mechanism, a policy mechanism for the leadership to say to you that your research area is to be discontinued, for example. Is there such a possibility, or is that a personal, do you get me? Or, yes, so that's what this question is about.
May I give comment?
Yes?
Related with the research area? I think that's not the style here is not based on the research area, but based on department. So it's really different from when I found that in Japan, that if some research area is not improving or there is a new trending topic, so they develop new department. So as far as I know, it's still until now still the same department. Whether the topic or interest of the person to do research is depend on the researcher there. But the topic can change, but not obligatory. There is a closing or something like that. That's my opinion.
Yeah, usually faculty of medicine has the big team, but you can interpret based on the department. So for example, when Pak Gufron as the dean, he had the team of healthy lifestyle. So every department can interpret what is the team. Yeah, what that means.
I heard that in Singapore, a PI can be offered a certain block grant for developing his or her own group, like having priority. But I think in Indonesia it's still quite long to get there.
Yes.
We are still trying to grow a habit of doing what is the good research, how to publish a good publication, So if someone given priority, who should be able to say or to have decision making to say you should be stopped or you shouldn't. But based on the funding itself, because Indonesia also it is a driving force for people to change. Nowadays, for instance, the government like to have everything regarding technology or regarding molecular biology.
Yes.
So people just shift a bit to that direction, saying, "Oh, I'm using molecular biology. I'm developing technology." So that is the driving force, which is also not a good thing to do.
Yes, you're absolutely spot on there. There are various driving forces, but from an institutional perspective, when things are in decline, whatever, but you are currently building up, so maybe this is not so much of a concern at the moment. But it could be if there is a specific profile that you would like to shift for whatever reason. Yeah. And how do you do that transfer? Then you might need to do skills upgrade of staff. You need maybe to put the number of mechanisms in place to move and shift focus for whatever reason. Yeah.
Do you want to add?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
I would like to add, so I agree with both of them. And I would like to add for the experience. So actually, it's a long time ago, the clinician, our senior clinician, including Dr. Widodo and Esri, they work based on passion, not the patient based, but patient. Okay, passion. Sorry. My English is very Indonesian, Javanese English. Yeah,
that's all right.
Passion. Yeah. So, and the passion is just coming out based on the patient that come into us, and by the time they build and grow up with that, and so there will be a research focus or there will be things, but the important thing, for example, Dr. Widodo have a research focus and in molecular dermatology or maybe in the plastic, forever. But by the time it's growing and learning from the beginning that he is in the very early career, even when he was in the residency program. By the time there is an interest of thing. But by the time he will work together with other people from the clinician, from the other specialization, and from the molecular biology and everything. But I don't think so. He changed the research focus because it's more on that things, for example, like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. For example, is it for seperti cerita? Yeah, and then I really know that many seniors in our university have the same approach like that.
But I think that is a part of the academic. A lot of academics are very passionate about their work and the research areas. And sometimes, as you said, you suggest that this is a bottom-up approach. So I'm interested in a particular area, but increasingly, government put in priority setting areas and allocate funds to it. So to encourage academics to take on research in fields that are of strategic importance, perhaps for the country, for the institution, etc. So there is, it needs to be dynamic, and it also needs to be what you can see in the European context, in particular Sweden, where I come from, where we moved very strong from large proportion of block grants to more 60% of the proportions of competitive grants. Not only the whole machinery of managing the pot of money costed a lot of money, so the academics needed to apply for funding, then the funding needed to be managed by the institution. On the policy level, you needed to have people that wrote the calls, to manage the calls, to set up the review committees, it's a whole machinery that cost a lot of money. And what happens then is often that academics adjust, so they become risk averse, and they almost put forward proposals that they already know. so that they can reallocate the time to continue to do the work that they are really passionate about. So there are a lot of strategies that academics use to sort of be a bit resistant to policy approach. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's problematic. So it's to strike a balance between diversity and how to say, priority areas.
Yeah, 26 years now, I always did the tobacco research. From the youth to now pregnant woman. Yeah. Yes. So it's one of the respondents. Even then, this is, I think, clinical things. Yeah.
Right. We should just move through the slides and finish, so we can have coffee. I'm sure you would like to have coffee too, or tea break. So practices to support established researchers to engage in cross-sectorial collaboration. I think this looks really good, actually. You're quite advanced here from the results here. This is a tricky area in Australia, so
yes.
Yes.
I think not only Faculty of Medicine, but UGM also facilitate for that one.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Then we effective arrangements for cross-sector supervision between university, industry, university, government, and university and community. And you can see, likewise, it's few that don't know. It's a bit spread, but yeah, looking pretty good. And then practices to apply entrepreneurial and business skills. So it's joint project with industry, internships, joint projects with government sector. So it's a bit more spread.
Yeah, this need to be improved. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, it's already started. That I told you.
Yes.
Yeah, before that, UGM
Yeah, so
also
it-
facilitate. Yeah. Yeah, this start from the research staff. Yeah. Established one. Okay. Yeah.
The established one, yes.
It's really also my concern because because it is my own experience. Because I was my research in occupational and environmental dermatology, and when I'm going back home, I really very difficult to find a grant, blah 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 blah, because there are many big grants come to our university, and I cannot be part of it. And then I try to say to my dad or my parents or my husband or my and I think that's make you stronger, because you will find your way by yourself to find a grant for your group. Because most of the research is come from the blah 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 or blah 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 or cancer, but not from the occupation. Yeah. Ya blah 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 kan rento ngomong kok merasa okay, with you Tamin. So it's depend on the people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit more slightly close to my department, so it's okay.
And then, okay, and intellectual property rights is a bit spread. Partly, that is also to be expected, because it comes with an increased research focus, because you need to do research to have intellectual property. Yeah.
Ya, institution ya, tapi perorangan atau paten kan perorangan ya, individual I think.
Patent
Yeah.
and everything is with the professor.
Faculty also helping, yeah. Intellectual.
So if you have an you carry on with your research and you publish it, you are the owner to your research, not the institution. Same with patents, it belongs to you.
Sorry, in our department, we have one patent for the chamber of the PET.
Yes.
We made by our own technique, yeah, and after that we registered and getting the patent, and all of the cost is supported by our department.
Yes.
So the researcher doesn't spend enough money for this, only writing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, yeah. So